following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's time for another week of Mick Shots. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola and Everson Walls. Mickey in his cowboy blue. He's got the star on his shirt. Everson in his cardinal red as we kick off the week.
Oh, no, do not say that. Please do not say that. That's Grambling State, sir. Grambling State, yes.
His Grambling T-shirt. All right, that's much more like it. I thought the Cardinals made a believer out of you last night or something there for a second. And not a lot of people believing in the Cowboys right now after what happened at AT&T Stadium on Monday night, but it is Washington football team week at the Star in Frisco after we put this one to bed. And Mickey, we need to put it to bed as quickly as possible, don't we?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last night during the game, at some point, that sleep number commercial came on, and it showed Dak Prescott in bed sleeping. And I said, yeah, that's a good place to be, because the last place you want to be is behind that offensive line trying to throw the football around. My point on this one, and we talked about it last week when the Cowboys got wiped out in their first Monday night football appearance by the St. Louis Cardinals, 1970. They got beat 38-0. And we had talked about hitting rock bottom because after that game, they had lost 2 in a row. I believe it was to the Giants and the Cardinals. They turned it around and didn't lose another game until they lost Super Bowl V to Baltimore. So I was thinking, well, maybe they've hit rock bottom. They can't get any further down after losing to an Arizona team that, by the way, didn't play all that well either. That's the worst part about this team, about this game. This team could have been beaten. You lost to a quarterback who completed 9 passes for 188 yards, and one of those passes was for 80 yards. So that's 8 passes for 108 yards, and you got beat because you gave up 261 yards rushing, and you did what? Turned the ball over 4 times and fell behind once again, 21-0.
I think the problem that we have is, one of the problems we have, we were ready to concentrate on Dalton's ability to take him down the field. How will he overcome his rusty play? Because we talked last week. You're going to have an adjustment between the receivers and the quarterback. This is something new. You have a different timing, different tendencies. That was one issue. I was assuming that defensively we would not have the issues that we have this week, the same ones we had going all the way back to week 1. That's the disappointing part. I was kind of prepared for the offense to be rusty. I was prepared for Dalton to be rusty. I was not prepared for Emmett to keep fumbling the ball. Zeke to keep fumbling the ball. And I was also not prepared for the defense to just, it was not for lack of effort. We still have the same lack of recognition. We still have the same look of surprise on our faces defensively whenever a play is over. Everyone's standing around like, wow, how did that happen? That's the consistent problem that's going to be our downfall. That's what we have to fix up defensively.
Yep, that was the most disturbing thing about last night, in my opinion, was what was not happening on the defensive side of the ball. And you hit the nail on the head there, I think, as far as recognizing what going into the week, they were coached on the quarterback run, okay? And the way that this quarterback can beat you and move the chains, as he showed last night, is on those quarterback runs. And they were not recognizing it. And obviously, you have to be able to recognize it, because if Kyler Murray gets a step on you, he's got the corner.
He's gone.
And you got to play team defense in order to contain a quarterback like him. He can't do it with a spy. On this Cowboys team, I can't think of a defensive player who you could use as a spy and would be able to keep up with him. So it's got to be the ends being able to set the edge. It's got to be aware that what this Cardinals team is going to do in a 3rd and 1 situation, probably more than half the time, instead of giving it to a running back up the middle, the quarterback's going to, on a zone read or on a bootleg, is going to take it to the outside. You have to be aware that that play is going to happen, or in all likelihood might happen.
We talked last week, Everson talked about the secondary and where people's eyes are. I don't think the guys on this defensive line see anything. I mean, it was obvious sometimes where the ball was going, and no one was looking in the middle of the line. It's got to be better than that. And then when you're not holding down the middle, your defensive ends start going, okay, well, I got to get in there and help out. And then zip, 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 there he goes, 4th and 1 for 12 yards. Like, who did they think was going to carry the football? It was going to be him.
There were moments, Spags, especially our boy at 37, Donovan, is that his last name?
Donovan Wilson.
Donovan Wilson. I saw him try and plug a hole that was not there. I believe that was on the long touchdown run. For some reason, he's sticking his head in there where there is no crease for the running back to come through. When you're a defensive back or a linebacker, you have to read the line as you're a running back. You have to anticipate where that running back is going to eventually expose himself, and you have to be there to meet him in the hole. For some reason, this guy comes up, he sticks his head in there, gets caught in the wash, totally caught up in the wash. To the right of the play, the hole is to the left, he's untouched. That hole was for number 37 to fill. Plays like that could have possibly been a 6-yard gain, ends up being a 80-yard touchdown run. These small things lead to big problems. And I pick him out because when you're a safety, you are the last resort. And you must remember that. As a safety, the responsibility is so huge. You can stop a potential touchdown, or you can give up one of the biggest plays of the night to really close the door on you. So these are the consistent problems, the consistent inconsistencies that we've had in this secondary. The front seven been up and down. The secondary has always been down, and that needs to change.
Now, Everson, along those lines, you're talking about the last touchdown that put it away with 2 minutes left in the game at 38-10. I'll take you back to the 4th and 1 play with the score scoreless early in the second quarter, and the Cardinals have the football at the Cowboy 18-yard line, and that's when Kyler Murray ran the bootleg. And Donovan Wilson was the safety on the side of the field that the bootleg went, and he, on that play, got caught up in the wash. He has the athleticism that he might have been able to stop Kyler Murray on the edge, or at least turned him back in for his teammates to make the tackle. But he got caught up in the wash, and it was just clear sailing to the outside. That was me, an untrained eye, just looking at that. But that was that reminded me of it when I went back and looked at it this morning. That was a particular play, a huge play in that game where it looked to me like if Wilson could have got to the outside, he's got enough speed to contain Kyler a little bit, and he might have got some help, and they might have not gotten the first down.
Hey, this is coming from a non-athletic, non-speed guy right here. If you can have all the athletic ability in the world. The Cowboys came up with this computer workout to gauge what kind of athlete you're going to be signing. You can have all the speed in the world, you can have all the agility in the world. If you have no recognition, it doesn't do you any good. If you have zero recognition, you're always going to be a step behind. Players like myself, players like Michael Downs, recognition was there, so we had a step on our opponent. If you don't recognize anything, then you're always going to be chasing behind players the entire game, not just as an individual, but your team itself. No team recognition, you will always be playing from behind. That's what we're looking at, guys.
And I thought, along the lines of the defense, again, while we're talking about the defense, early in the third quarter, when the Cardinals got the ball after the controversial Dre Kirkpatrick interception, and Mickey, I'm sure, is ready to go off on that.
We got hosed that entire drive.
But the disappointing thing on that is the Cardinals come back and rip off a 22-yard run, a 20-yard run, and they drive it down the defense's throat for 79 yards in 9 plays. And it wasn't like the defense was tired at that point. They had literally been on the field. Of course, we had halftime in there too. They had been on the field for one play in the last 13 minutes of the ball game, which was the 80-yard touchdown pass to Christian Kirk. That was the one time that they were on the field outside of a kneel down at the end of the first half since the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. And the Cardinals take over with 12 minutes left in the third quarter, and they just drove it right down the field on them. I mean, it was just inexcusable.
And this is my pet peeve on the complaints afterwards about the turnovers, right? I get it. They turned the ball over 4 times. But just because you turn the ball over doesn't mean the defense has got to let them drive the field and score.
Amen,
only one of those turnovers should have led to a short drive touchdown, and it was Zeke's second fumble. They recovered at the Dallas 27-yard line. So all they had to do was drive 27 yards. The first turnover, they got the ball at their own 46. They drove 54 yards. The first interception, they drove 79 yards. And the third interception, they got the ball at the Arizona 10, and they drove 90 yards to get not less than 90. They ended up with a field goal. So you don't. I understand, the sudden change and the adversity of turnovers. You shorten your own possession, but the defense can maybe hold them to a field goal once in a while. Yeah. So once again, this defense gives up 261 yards rushing? My goodness. After a 307 2 weeks ago, they just got no clue up front what they're doing, and they're wasting snaps on players who are doing nothing. They finally called up. We talked about it. They were going to call up Justin Hamilton, and he got in. He played 19 snaps. He had 3 tackles. Dontari Poe, for the second game in a row, zeroed out. No solo tackles, no assistant tackles, no quarterback pressures. I could go out and do that. I could get hurt, but I could do that. So at some point, they got to start using maybe different guys. Maybe you got to work some different offensive linemen in there. And it wasn't like always on the offensive line getting physically beat. There was no recognition on blitzes coming at them. It was like, okay, they're going to blitz. I can see it. Somebody's got to pick that guy up. Now, if you got to leave a running back in all the time, then you got to do it. If you got to play 2 tight ends and help those tackles out, you got to do it. And then what's the worst thing that can happen? The only guy with any experience on that offensive line, Zach Martin, he gets knocked out of the game. He was down, and Zeke's knee hits him in the head, and now he's in concussion protocol. So now you got 4 guys on the offensive line that were nowhere near starting this year, trying to block a team that ended up with a 21-point lead. Oh, they're just going to come at you. What do they got to lose? And they got overwhelmed. Poor Andy Dalton should have got combat pay.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and you listen to Troy Aikman was on the radio this morning, and he had a good comment about the injuries on the offensive line. And it was this way. He said when he played, everyone talked about for 6 days of the week, they talk about the injuries on the offensive line and how you're going to be able to patch it together. You don't have enough players to play. But then once Sunday comes, or in this case Monday night comes, then how come you can't do anything on offense? How come you can't throw downfield? Well, it's because you've got basically 4 rookies on your offensive line once Zach Martin went out. I mean, coming into this season, in Brandon Knight, Terrence Steele, Tyler Biadasz, and Connor McGovern, they had a grand total of 0 NFL starts coming into this season. So the one veteran hand you had in there was your left guard, Connor Williams, who's in his 3rd year in the league. Now, having said that, there are a number of NFL teams going through the exact same thing this season, and in the Cowboys' own division in the NFC East, where the Eagles are down basically six starters on their offensive line, and just like the Cowboys were last night. And so the good thing for the Cowboys, of course, is that they play in the NFC East. That's the saving grace.
Still in first place. Still in first
place at 2-4. And they've got the Washington football team and the Eagles the next 2 weeks, and they need to take care of business the next 2 weeks to get back to 500. And they could still be running away with the NFC East, Mickey.
And when we come back from break, we have a choice cut soundbite from Jerry Jones on that exact topic.
All right. Mick Shots continues in a moment.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Make the most of summer with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. With great offers on a huge selection of Ford SUVs and the largest selection of truck inventory to choose from. Get huge offers across the Ford lineup. So grab the family and head out. Ford's helping you make the most out of summer. It's easier now during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Based on 2019 calendar year total sales. Based on Autodata compact and full-size stock inventory as of June 2020.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Don't miss your chance to get tickets to see the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium this season, with home matchups remaining against the Steelers, Washington, 49ers, and Eagles. A limited number of tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. That's right, we just completed a 3-game homestand. Cowboys go 1-2 on the homestand, losing to Cleveland and Arizona, sandwiched around a 3-point win over the Giants. And So we are now halfway through the home schedule. There's 4 home games left. Cowboys schedule looking ahead. Got Washington and Philadelphia, and then home against currently the unbeaten Pittsburgh Steelers, the next home game. And Mickey, that brings a smile to your face and a shake of your head.
Yes, because those Dallas Cowboys are still in first place.
It'll be a battle of 2 first-place teams.
Just think, if they could have won the game, they would have been a game and a half ahead of the Eagles and 2 games ahead of the Giants and the Washingtons. I'm going to call them the Washingtons now.
I like that. Yeah.
Shortens Washington football team. And you know, the guys today on the Fan asked Jerry, you know, but you know what? You're still in first place. What do you think about that? And I think Chris probably has that cut ready to hear what Jerry had to say.
I'm not in the feel-good mood, frankly, that we've been got manna from heaven, being in the East. These things have a way of evening out as we go along, and certainly the NFC East is having its challenges right now. All of that is a way of not wanting to talk about other teams. When you're not playing any better than we are, it's hard for me to basically look to the end game, which is to win the East, and get excited about the fact that we're better than anybody. We may be slow, but we're ahead of you syndrome. We've got to get better to have the kind of season that makes sense for us.
We might be slow, but we're ahead of you syndrome. That one cracked me up. But he's right? He didn't say we might be bad, but we're not as bad as you guys are. It's no consolation, especially, as he said, if we want to have the kind of season that makes sense to us. And, you know, he started that off, and I'm not sure if it caught this, but he goes, but I'm not in a feel-good mood, frankly. So, he was not happy, and nobody should be happy, right? You know, and we can't. So this game, you know, last time they got run like this against Cleveland, it was all about the effort, right? Well, no one's talking about effort this time, right? Talking about turnovers. Well, I told you about the turnovers. Yeah, you shorten your possession, but you don't have to let them score. I mean, it was just, to me, and I'll go back to what I said when we opened the show, they better hope this is rock bottom, because if it gets worse than this, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, you know, I think everyone has good intentions. We've seen that. I'm sure you could just be inside Zeke's head before the game and probably understand that he's thinking, okay, our boy Dak is down. The load comes on me. I'm going to carry that load. I'm going to be that guy to step up. I need to have Andy Dalton's back. Let's go, O-line. Just open up those holes for me, and let's take this conservative route. I will carry that burden on my shoulders. And he just kind of pressured himself into a couple of turnovers. And, you know, when you start seeing the same thing happen week in, week out, even though your mindset is different, you think your mindset's different. I'm going to go into this game and I am not going to do what I've been doing. And then you go out there and do it anyway. It's got to be disheartening. It's almost like you start to doubt yourself. And I was glad, I knew they weren't going to do it, but I was just so glad that just for the future that they kept him in the game, kept Zeke, you know, in tuned in the game. They put Pollard in a little bit afterwards, but they kept Zeke in tune to where, okay, you're still our guy. You know, you're still going to be our horse for the rest of this season. But, man, it was just so tough to see him go through that and wonder mentally what's in his head. Like, damn, can I just stop doing this? You know, that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing as a professional player. And
as you saw, when they were tackling him, they were going for the ball. Yep. It wasn't almost like they were worried about getting him on the ground. They were reaching for the ball, especially on the second one. The first one, kind of goofy play, right? Pressure gets to Dalton. He steps up. At the last second, he throws a little shovel pass to Zeke. He catches it, turns, and he leaves the ball out here, and he gets hit from behind. It's got to be up here. Yeah. He knows that. He can't get sloppy. But again, I think you're right, Everson. He's trying so hard to make up for what they don't do. It's becoming counterproductive because he's trying so hard. He's not taking care of the things he needs to take care of.
But I do think that you credit the Cardinals for both those forced fumbles. I mean, those are playmakers on that Cardinals defense that forced the turnovers. The two fumbles, I mean, Buda Baker, he was very aware of what was going on, and he knew that and in fact, there was a comment from Buda after the game last night. Apparently, Zeke did not see or had fallen down, I can't remember exactly, and was just got back up, and he did not see that Andy had broken out of the pocket. So Andy was yelling, Zeke, Zeke, like he was going to throw him the ball. Buda heard that, came from behind, and he had it measured to swipe and knock the ball out. Jordan Phillips on the other Zeke fumble. I mean, he's a massive human being, and he was in position to make the tackle at the same time, rip the ball out. First off, the Cowboys defense, if the Cowboys are going to get some turnovers, they got to be in position to make the plays, much less knock the ball out. And so I think you get credit for the Cardinals on defense. They've got some heady playmakers on their defense that make critical plays in the game.
Oh, absolutely. And it's hard for you to concentrate on ripping a ball out when you're giving up 7.5 yards per run. You know, you're desperate to make a tackle.
Yeah, when you're trailing the play.
Yes, absolutely. So, defense not good, offensive line not good. Did you ever see an uglier field goal attempt, by the way? And I know it was, 58 yards? Should have gone for it. Should have gambled. 3 points weren't going to help you out at that point. I used to, it was an old baseball term. When you hit a ball like that and it nosedives, they used to call it a duck snort. And this one went.
Well, I mean, he leaned back like he was Barry Bonds or something on a home run. It's like he put so much into it. You know, that was one of those golf shots where they tell you to keep your head down. No, he totally flailed almost on that kick. It didn't look good as soon as it came off his feet.
I'll tell you what. Think about this. You're the coaching staff. Where do you start on this tomorrow?
No, you get rid of this video. You don't even watch it.
Just go, right?
Yeah, just burn it. Let the coaches look at it, realize what they have to do and what they think they can correct. Get rid of that thing. I wouldn't even. Tom Landry was good at that. There were certain games where he said, you know what, guys, this won't do us any good to watch this. Now, I might say that it might be because he may have called a horrible game as well, so that may have covered his own ass. But when it does you no good to look at something like this, you just move on and understand what it's about. First of all, it's about a new quarterback. As good as he looked in the last part of the game before this one, where he led us on the comeback against the Giants, you have to regroup. Now you're going to be game planned as a quarterback, and that's what the Cardinals were able to do. We talked during the break, Spags. I've never seen this Cardinals secondary play so well. They were all over the place. It's like they had 12, 13 guys out there. And I know our receivers can beat these guys all day long, but for some reason, they game planned us so well. There were moments when they were already waiting on our receivers to finish their routes. They had run the route for them. And I talked earlier about how they got screwed doing one particular drive, especially the drive with CeeDee Lamb getting knocked down, the guy gets the interception. Pretty obvious play. I don't even, there are times when I think referees or umpires should be fined. That's one of those plays where, look, guy, you got to get demoted. You missed that obvious call. And there were the calls that weren't made as well. And I know it sounds like belly aching. players being held during running plays. Clearly, you could see that the O-lineman was grabbing our guy trying to escape. Talk about Donovan Wilson. He tried to get off of a block on the goal line. The guy just grabbed him, and there was no call. He could have actually made an attempt on the play. I saw 3 plays, 3 missed calls right before or after the CeeDee Lamb no call as well. Just sometimes referees get lazy too.
Hey, let me tell you about this Cardinals secondary, because we talk a lot about the Cowboys wide receivers, and Amari Cooper was the 4th pick in the draft. CeeDee Lamb was a mid-first round draft pick. Michael Gallup, a 3rd round pick. But if you look at the Cardinals secondary, they've got Patrick Peterson, an 8-time Pro Bowler at one cornerback position, who was the 5th pick in the draft. Buda Baker was an early 2nd round pick, 36th overall. He's made the Pro Bowl twice. This Byron Murphy, number 33, he was the 33rd pick in the draft. He was nearly a 1st round draft pick. Dre Kirkpatrick was a 1st round pick of the Bengals several years ago. I mean, they have invested in their secondary. There's a reason that these guys were high draft picks, and they showed up in last night's game. And so if you make an investment in that secondary, then if you make an investment in playmakers, typically playmakers will make plays for you. They got the best of the Cowboys in last night's game against the Cowboy receivers, the strength of the Cowboys team. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that, you got a collapsing pocket around Andy Dalton. And when you've got a good secondary and there's not a lot open there, it's not going to play to your benefit when you've got, basically 4 starters out on your offensive line.
But think about this, and they did it again. The last possession of the 2nd quarter, the first possession of the 3rd quarter. Michael Gallup, after making 2 unbelievable catches last week, drops a touchdown pass.
Man.
You're down 21-0, right? That could make it 21-7. You end up with a field goal. And then the first possession of the 3rd quarter, you deferred, you get the ball, and that's when Dre Kirkpatrick just drags, he mugged CeeDee Lamb, and it turns into an interception. And they were moving, right? That was like a 20-yard pass that took place around the 22-yard line. Those 2 possessions could have made it 21-14. Game on.
Makes a big difference, Spags.
Right? But now they take that possession, drive 79 yards, and all of a sudden it's 28-3, and basically game's over.
Let me take that a step further, Mickey, because we talk about, you just throw the tape out and don't show them this, but literally there are certain key situations in that game last night where if the Cowboys make the play, the Cardinals are kept off the board, and a lot of it was the quarterback run. On the first touchdown drive of the game for Arizona, they started their possession with 2:36 left in the first quarter. They faced a 3rd and 10 at the 46, 3rd and 10. And Murray gets out for a 10-yard run and a first down. Okay? They're punting if you just contain the quarterback there.
Yep.
Then they come down with a 4th and 1. They decide to go for it on 4th and 1 at the 18-yard line, and that was the Murray bootleg for 11 yards and a first down. All right? That leads to a touchdown. And then on their next possession, you got this was after the Zeke fumble. They take over at the 27-yard line. You've got them stopped with a 3rd and 11, and you play soft coverage on Larry Fitzgerald on the outside. He got the call from the official. It didn't look to me like he got the first down, but they would have gone for it anyway on 4th and 1.
That was just, oh my God.
But still, regardless,
so mad.
Regardless, it was soft coverage. He gets 11 yards. He gets the first down. And on the next play, there goes the quarterback again for 16 yards all the way to the goal line. I just cited 3 quarterback run plays, and you knew coming into the week the focus is on this quarterback's ability to run the football. He leads the NFL in yards per carry, and they are design runs. They are not scrambles.
Yeah, and on that 3rd and 11 play, what kind of defensive...
Yeah.
No, that was the DB's choice. It was totally man-to-man. The call itself in the huddle, he has the option on how to play it. You have to know as a veteran player. That was Noah, right? Noah Brown. Was that Brown on the coverage on that play?
Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown on that play. He runs a 4-0, and he's off of a big tight end guy. We talked about that with Fitzgerald, who's way past his prime, just a solid player. And you're going to give up a sideline? You should have been all over that guy. Those are the moments, guys, where I talk about a good defensive back says, this is the time
And by the way, the Cowboys were in a package that they ran in last night's game where they had 7 DBs on the field on that play. All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
What do you call a group of grown men and women who get together every week, proudly wearing the star, to share a 3-hour-long ritual of cheering, shouting at the TV, and raising their Miller Lite together while yelling, "How about them boys?" You call it Miller Time and Cowboys Nation. Here's to the only beer of the Cowboys celebrating 60 years of greatness. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Back to Mick Shots.
Coming to a Cowboys game this season, make sure you know before you go. Wear a mask, keep distance, and be prepared for cashless transactions. Please be aware of all safe stadium policies prior to arriving at AT&T Stadium. Visit DallasCowboys.com/safe stadium for details.
All right, we got final few minutes here of Mick Shots. Mickey, I got a question for you. What did you see the rotation as at cornerback for the Cowboys last night? Because it looked to me like Darryl Worley started the game at one cornerback spot, was in for a couple of 3 series. Then Anthony Brown was in at cornerback for several series in a row. It was interesting. I was just looking back at my play-by-play, and, Brown, we were just talking about the Larry Fitzgerald 3rd and 11 reception that led to a touchdown. Next time the Cowboys were on the field, Anthony Brown was not out there, and Darryl Worley was back at corner, and Worley gave up the 80-yard touchdown to Christian Kirk on the very next play.
Worley only played 21 snaps. Anthony Brown played 49, so he was out there for the majority of the snaps, along with Trayvon Diggs. And you're right, Bill. Not only did they play dime, there were times that they were using Jalen Smith as one of the rushing four guys on the line of scrimmage, and then basically had all DBs out there trying to confuse them, and it did, except for, I don't know, Everson, did Worley get confused? Because how do you get beat that bad? Did he think, somebody said they were in zone. Well, they really weren't, because they had 3 wide receivers down the field. The corner to the Cowboys' right had one guy covered. The safety picked up the guy down the slot. There was no one to give him help in a zone. He had to be in man, and he gives up an 80-yard touchdown pass.
And it doesn't matter man or zone. It really doesn't. if you're supposed to be deep, no one gets behind you. I mean, that's all it is to it. His technique was, it was non-existent. He didn't touch him. He didn't play flat. He didn't play deep. You know, everything that you saw about it, I think he was, it seemed to be as if he just had a brain lock, really, because his feet stopped moving. It seemed as if he didn't realize that this guy was coming at him so quickly. You know, when a receiver closes that gap on you, you're at that receiver's mercy as a defensive back. And, initially what you must do, it's okay to panic, because panic will make you turn and run. He just stayed there. And I know that was not the correct responsibility for him. There's no way he's supposed to play that technique and let a guy get up on him that fast, that quickly, and also just get by him. It's almost as if he just gave up as soon as the guy closed the gap on him. It's just, those are the kind of things where, it makes me go off on my little rants about, and Bill said it, the Cardinals chose to invest in a secondary. Peterson has been there for quite some time. They've given Peterson support with other quality defensive backs, because that is your last line of defense. I don't care how well your D-line's playing. I don't care how well your linebackers stop the run. Eventually, you're going to have to cover deep passes. You're going to have to protect your end zone. We haven't done that for years. The low priority we have on defensive backs is embarrassing. I've talked about it before. It is necessary for us to change the culture here. I don't know if they're going to do it with Mike Nolan. I really don't. He's never shown as a defensive coordinator to be successful in that manner. I was hoping that when he came here that this would be the difference. So far, it's gotten even worse than any defense Mike Nolan's ever had. And that's saying a lot.
And if you're a student of the game, what is Christian Kirk's calling card? His speed, right? They're going to send him on a 9 route. You got to be prepared for that. You can't fall asleep.
And they had 3 9 routes on that one play.
Yeah, they
which
did.
Took the safety to go to Isabella instead.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. They showed that we're going to come deep. We're going to go at you and at your secondary from the beginning of the ball game.
That's right.
They showed them what they're going to do, and for some reason we were tone deaf to all of that.
It's obviously something that they had seen with the Cowboys secondary. Maybe they do it every week. I don't know. But they came out that they were going to take deep shots down the field, and they finally hit on one. And they barely did. Murray almost overthrew him, only because of Kirk's speed. He was able to run that ball down. That's right.
I mean, they did it on the first 3rd down, right? They went deep to
Isabella. Yeah.
So at that point, if you're a defensive back, okay, I see what your calling card is. I'll be prepared for that. You can catch all the stuff in front all you want. It's not going to lead to a quick 6. The priority for you is to keep things under control in that secondary. Coach Eddie Robinson, Grambling State University, all he ever said was, don't give up the quick 6. That's something that was beaten into my head my entire career starting in college. And it's a good mantra to have, because that way you know that you will always be in the ball game because the end zone is protected.
Mickey, you're very studious there. You're looking up something.
No, I was just looking to see.
We got a minute or so left. I want to give you time to get something off your mind.
I was looking to see if they had any more deep throws like that. Look, so the turnover ratio, Cowboys are minus 12. The next worst team, minus 7. They're 5 more in the turnover ratio differential than any other team. They've given up 218 points. That's 26 more than the next team that's given up 192, Minnesota. Cleveland 187, the Jets 182, Jacksonville 181. But here come the Cowboys 218.
How are those other teams doing? You mentioned the Vikings, the Jets, and the Jags were among those that you mentioned.
And Cleveland's the only team that has. What do they have? They have 3 wins or 4?
Well, one of the wins was against the Cowboys. So
yeah, right. So
hey, let's just remember what we have over all of those teams is first place standing.
That's right. You know, another thing that we have over those
I might
teams,
be slow, but I'm not as slow as you are.
You know, another thing we have on those other teams, we have mix shots.
That's right.
And we have mix shots, and we got more mix shots tomorrow at 1:30 as we try to figure out what went wrong this time and what will go right against the Washington football team. Sunday is fast approaching, and we'll see you again tomorrow here on Mix Shots.
Go Cowboys!
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.